Just everybody's doing great because I am, thank God. So, I just wanted to bring you along to this lovely book I've been reading on atomic habits. I like to read at least 3 pages each day before I go to bed, and it's been so rewarding. Yeah, I really want to take us along this journey, and let's sweep away to the Wonder Book world. Okay, so why I really wanted to do this live is because it is something that totally tallies and agrees with one of the tenets of this variety channel. I've also mentioned it countless times that most of the attitudes, habits we portray as adults has a lot to do with the family we grew up in, the environment, the people of influence, and both internal and external circumstances and environment. And over time, that has formed our perspective, our thought system. Hence, we are who we are. Okay, so that's why I really want us to come along this journey and let's read together. Let me get to read for you. So, if you're passing by, feel free to say hello, feel free to comment, feel free to even listen and to enjoy as we talk about this. And the title of the book, once again, is The Atomic Habits. I've been reading it for a while and it's been quite educative, insightful, and eye opening, even. So, come on. Okay, the role of family and friends in shaping your habits. Let's go. In 1965, a Hungarian man named Laszlo Polga wrote a series of strange letters to a woman named Clara. Laszlo was a firm believer in hard work. In fact, it was all he believed in. He completely rejected the idea of innate talent. That sounds like I'm not gonna agree with this kind with Laszlo here. He completely rejected the idea of innate talent. Underline that. He claimed that with deliberate practice and the development of good habits, a child could become a genius in any field. His mantra was, a genius is not born, but is educated and trained. Okay, interesting. Laszlo believed in this idea so strongly that he wanted to test it with his own children. And he was writing to Clara because he needed a wife willing to jump on board. Clara was a teacher, and although she may not have been as adamant as Laszlo, she also believed that with proper instruction, anyone could advance their skills. Laszlo decided chess would be a suitable field for the experiment. Chess. That's one game I really need to learn. And he laid out a plan to raise his children to become chess prodigies. The kids would be homeschooled, a rarity in Hungary at the time. The house would be filled with chess books, pictures of famous chess players, The children would play against each other constantly and compete in the best tournaments they could find. The family would keep a meticulous file system of the tournament history of every competitor the child faced. Their lives would be dedicated to chess. I can't wait to see how that turns out. Laszlo successfully courted Clara, and within few years, the Polgas were parents to three young children: Susan, Sophia, Judith. Susan, the oldest, began playing chess when she was 4 years old. Within 6 months, she was defeating adults. Sophia, the middle child, did even better. By 14, she was a world champion, and a few years later, she became a grandmaster. That's good. Judith, the youngest, was the best of all. At age 5, she could beat her father. At 12, she was the youngest player in the world. At 15 and 4 months old, she became the youngest grandmaster of all time, younger than Bobby Fischer and previous record holder. For 27 years, she was the #1 ranked female chess player in the world. The childhood of Polga sisters were atypical, to say the least. And yet, if you ask them about it, they claim their lifestyle was attractive, even enjoyable in interviews. The sisters talk about their lifestyle, their childhood, as entertaining rather than grueling. They loved playing chess. They wouldn't get enough of it. Once, Laszlo reportedly found Sophia playing chess in the bathroom. He's really out to prove a point. Encouraging her to go back to sleep, he said, "Sophia, leave the pieces alone." To which she replied, "Daddy, they won't leave me alone." The Polga sisters grew up in a culture that prioritized chess above all else, praised them for it, rewarded them for it. In their world, an obsession with chess was normal. And we are about to see whatever habits are normal in your culture are among the most attractive behaviors you will find. Now, the seductive pole of social norms is getting interesting. Hang in there. Humans are herd animals. We want to fit in, to bond with others, to earn the respect and approval of our peers. Such inclinations are essential to our survival. That's true. That's one thing humans crave for. You know, we really crave to fit in. We really crave to belong. You know what I mean? We're a relational being, like I always say. Such inclinations are essential to our survival. For most of our evolutionary history, our ancestors lived in tribes. Becoming separated from the tribe, or worse, being cast out, was a death sentence. The lone wolf dies, but the pack survives. Meanwhile, those who collaborated and bonded with others enjoyed increased safety, mating opportunities, and access to resources. As Charles Darwin noted, in the long history of humankind, those who learned to collaborate and improvise most effectively have prevailed. As a result, one of the deepest human concerns is to belong. I said it. We crave to belong, yeah? And this ancient preference exerts a powerful influence on our modern behavior. We don't choose our earliest habits, we imitate them. We follow the script handed down by our friends and our family, our church or school, our local community, and society at large. Each of these cultures and groups comes with its own set of expectations and standards. When and whether to get married, how many children to have, which holiday to celebrate, how much money to spend on your child's birthday party. In many ways, these social norms are the invisible rules that guide your behavior each day. You're always keeping them in mind, even if they are not at the top of your mind. Often, you follow the habits of your culture without even thinking, without questioning, and sometimes without remembering, as the French philosopher Michel de Montaigne wrote, the customs and practices of life in society sweeps us along. Most of the time, going along with the group does not feel like a burden. Everyone wants to belong. If you grew up in a family that rewards you for your chess skills, playing chess will seem like a very attractive thing to do. If you work in a job where everyone wears expensive suits, then you'll be inclined to splurge on one as well. If all your friends are sharing an inside joke or using a new phrase, you will want to do that too. Totally agree. So they know that you get it. Like, you don't want to sound lame, especially among the younger ones. Like, they just want to fit in. They just want to the extent that some of them even do something like that is not worth it at the end, just because they crave to belong, to fit in. Behaviors are attractive when they help us fit in. We imitate the habits of three groups in particular. We have the close, the many, the powerful. Wow. The close, the many, the powerful. Those are the three groups we imitate in terms of habits. Each group offers an opportunity to leverage the second law of behavior change and make our habits more attractive. Imitating the close. Proximity has a powerful effect on our behavior, of course, indeed. I totally agree. When the desirable is not available, the available becomes the desirable. You just make do, you know what I mean, with what you have or who you see every day. Before you know it, fondness comes in and all whatnot. This is true of the physical environment, as we discussed in the previous chapter, but it is also true of the social environment. We pick up our habits from the people around us. We copy the way our parents handle arguments, the way our peers flirt with one another, the way our co-workers get results. When your friends smoke pot, you give it a try too. Hence, you should be mindful of the circle you keep. Show me your friends, I'll tell you who you are. Birds of a feather flock together. Yes, and that is real. Okay, the way our workers get results. When your friends smoke pot, obviously you're gonna give it a try someday too. When your wife has a habit of double checking the door is locked before going to bed, you pick it up as well. That's not me. I find that I often imitate the behavior of those around me without even realizing it. In conversation, I'll automatically assume the body posture of the other person. In college, I began to talk like my roommates. The power of proximity. I see the power of the close. When traveling to other countries, I unconsciously imitate the local accent despite reminding myself to stop. As a general rule, the closer we are to someone, the more likely we are to imitate some of their habits. One groundbreaking study tracked 12,000 people for 32 years and found that a person's chances of becoming obese increased by 57% if he or she had a friend who became obese. It works the other way too. Another study found that if one person in a relationship lose weight, the other partner also slimmed down because 1/3 of the time. And our friends and families provide a sort of invisible peer pressure that pulls us in their direction. I totally agree. Of course, peer pressure is bad only if you are surrounded by bad influences. When astronaut Mike Massimino was a graduate student at MIT, he took a small robotic class. One of the 10 people in the class of four became astronauts. If your goal was to make it into space, then that room was about to be the best culture you could ask for. Similarly, one study found that the higher your best friend's IQ at age 11 or 12, wow, the higher your IQ would be at age 15. Now I want to know how that works. I'm even thinking back right now. The friends I had then in mid school, I'm trying to think back. But honestly, I'm not trying to blow my bubbles or hype myself or give myself accolades. I really had pretty good friends who were intellectually sound right from a younger age. Wow. Even after controlling for natural levels of intelligence, we soak up the qualities and practices of those around us. One of the best effective things you can do to build better habits is to join a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. So in a nutshell, if your desired behavior is to be successful, obviously making friends with successful people, maybe in whatever line of business or area of choice it is, making friends with those people, hanging out, rubbing minds together, brainstorming, and all whatnot, it rubs off on you. So in the other way or in other terms too, if for example you're looking to achieve something great and you're always hanging around people that they are okay with the barest minimum, for example, they are okay, que sera, whatever life throws, what would be, then you are in the wrong crowd. Okay? Wow, this is like a repetition of some of the videos I've done earlier. That's good. Now, new habits seem achievable when you see others doing them every day. If you are surrounded by fit people, you are more likely to consider working out to be a common habit. If you are surrounded by jazz lovers, you're more likely to believe it's reasonable to play jazz every day. Oh my goodness, that's so true. Do you know that some of the choice of songs I now enjoy, the genres of songs I enjoy, started way, way, way back from my days in the hostel as a student? Like the kind of people I surrounded myself with, it's really even influencing my life now in my, you know, adult years. That's so true. Your culture sets your expectation for what is normal. So you need to surround yourself with people who have the habits you want to have for yourself. That way you would rise together, right? To make your habits even more attractive, you can take this strategy one step at a time. Number one, this is where it gets interesting. Join a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. You already have something in common with the group. And take, for example, Steve Camp, an entrepreneur in Nashville. He runs a company called Nerd Fitness, which helps nerds, misfits, and mutants lose weight, get strong, and get healthy. His clients include video game lovers, movie fanatics, and average Joes who just want to get in shape. Many people feel out of place for the first time they go to a gym and try to change that diet. But if you're already similar to the other members of the group in some way, say your mutual love of Star Wars, change becomes more appealing because it feels like something people like you already do. Exactly. Remember, we're still under the proximity, how it could, the close, how it could affect our habits. I totally relate with that. Okay? Nothing sustains motivation better than belonging to the tribe. Here, here. It transforms a personal quest into a shared one. Previously, you were on your own. Your identity was singular. You were a reader. You are a musician. You are an athlete. Now you join a book club or a band or a cycling group. Your identity becomes linked to those around you. Growth and change is no longer an individual pursuit. We are readers, we are musicians, we are cyclists. The shared identity begins to reinforce your personal identity. This is why remaining part of a group after achieving a goal is crucial in maintaining your habits. So the work is not even done when you finally met your flock and you begin to, move together, people of like minds. So, and finally, you, boom, achieve whatever aim or goal you had in mind. So, it doesn't even end there. You see, you still need to abide, you still need to maintain that relationship with people of like minds for you to be able to succeed. It's friendship and community that embeds a new identity and help behaviors last over the long run. Here. Now, two, imitating the many. We talked about the clothes, and now, excuse me, imitating the many is the next one. It says, in the 1950s, psychologist Solomon Asch conducted a series of experiments that are now taught to legions of undergrads each year. Wow. To begin each experiment, the subject entered the room with a group of strangers. Unbeknownst to them, the other participants were actors planted by the researcher and instructed to deliver scripted answer to certain questions. The group would be shown one card with a line in it, and then a second card with a series of lines. Each person was asked to select the line on the second card that was similar in length to the line on the first card. It was really simple. Here is an example of two cards used in the experiment. Okay, I see. The experiment always began the same. First, there will be some easy trials where everyone agreed on the correct line. After a few rounds, the participants were shown a test that was an that was as obvious as the previous ones, except the actors in the room would set an intentional incorrect answer. For example, they would respond A to the comparison showed in the figure. Everyone would agree that the lines were the same, even though they were clearly different. The subject, who was unaware of the rules, would immediately become bewildered. Their eyes would open wide, they would laugh nervously to themselves, they would double check the reactions of other participants, they would double check the reactions of themselves as well. Their agitation would grow as one person after another delivered the same incorrect response. Soon, the subject began to doubt their own eyes. Eventually, they delivered the answer they know in their hearts to be incorrect. As ran this experiment many times in many different ways. What he discovered was the number of actors increased. So did the conformity of the subject. If it was just the subject and one actor, then there will be no effect on the person's choice. Wow. They just assumed they were in a room with a dummy. When two actors were in the room with the subject, there was still little impact. But as the number of people increased to 3 actors and 4 all the way to 8, the subject became more likely to second guess themselves. I see. By the end of the experiment, nearly 75% of the subjects had agreed with the group answer, even though it was obviously incorrect. Now, whenever we are unsure how to act, we look to the group to guide our behavior. We are constantly scanning our environment and wondering what everyone else is doing. We check reviews on Amazon or Yelp or TripAdvisor because we want to imitate the best buying, eating, and travel habits. It's usually a smart strategy. There is evidence in numbers, but there can be a downside. The normal behavior of the tribe often offers the power the desired behavior of the individual is looking to have. For example, one study found that when a chimpanzee learns an effective way to crack nuts open as a member of one group and then switches to a new group that uses less effective strategy, it will avoid using the superior nut cracking method just to blend in with the rest of the chimps. Unbelievable. Wow. Humans are similar. There is tremendous internal pressure to comply with the norms of the group. The reward of being accepted is often greater than the reward of winning an argument. Looking smart or finding the truth. Most days, would rather be wrong with the crowd than be right by ourselves. The human mind knows how to get along with others. It wants to get along with others. This is our natural mode. You can override it. You can choose to ignore the group or to stop caring what other people think. But it takes work. Running against the grain of your culture requires extra effort. When changing your habits means challenging the tribe, change is unattractive. When changing your habits means fitting in with the tribe, change is very attractive. Wow, I'm enjoying this. Now, coming to the third one. Remember, we talked about the clothes, and then we talked about the um we talked about the many, imitating the many. Wow, honestly, you can't even believe the effects of family and friends, pairs, groups, how they influence or affect our habits. Now, the third one is imitating the powerful. I think this is going to be interesting. Humans everywhere pursue power, prestige, and status. We want pins and medallions on our jackets. We want president or partner in our titles. We want to be acknowledged, recognized, praised, given all the accolades you could think of. These tendencies can seem vain, but overall, it's a smart move. Historically, a person with a greater power and status has access to more resources, worries less about survival, and proves to be a more attractive mate. We are drawn to behaviors that earn us respect, approval, admiration, and status. We want to be one in the gym who can do muscle ups, or musician who can play the hardest chord projections or progressions, or the parent with the most accomplished children, because these things separate us from the crowd. True, true, here, here. Once we fit in, we start looking for ways to stand out. This is one reason we care so much about the habits of highly effective people. True, true, true. We try to cope and try to copy the behavior of successful people because we desire success ourselves. Many of our daily habits are imitations of people we admire. You replicate the marketing strategies of the most successful firms in your industry. You make a recipe from your favorite baker. You borrow the storytelling strategies of your favorite writer. You mimic the communication style of your boss. We imitate people we envy. Mm, mm. Wait now. Hold up, hold up. For real? Envy? Oh, wait. I'm not trying to sound self righteous now, but wait. Let that sink. We tend to imitate people we envy. In a good light or in a negative light. We need to know. Okay, let's read on. High status people enjoy the approval, respect, and praise of others. And that means if a behavior can get us approval, respect, and praise, we find it attractive. We are also motivated to avoid behaviors that would lower our status. We trim our hedges and mow our lawn because we don't want to be in the slob of the neighborhood. When our mother comes to visit, we clean up the house because we don't want to be judged. We are continually wondering what would others think of us and altering our behavior based on the answer. The Polga sisters, the chess prodigies mentioned at the beginning of the chapter, are are oh sorry, let's get here. Okay, are evidence of the powerful and lasting impacts social influences can have in our behavior. The sisters practiced chess for many hours each day and continued this remarkable effort for decades. But these habits and behavior mentioned maintained their attractiveness in and out, impacting because they were valued by their culture, from the praise of their parents to the achievement of different status markers like becoming a grandmaster. They had many reasons to continue in their efforts. Nice. Now, to draw the conclusion, the culture we live in determines which behavior are attractive to us. We tend to adopt habits that are praised and approved by our culture because we have a strong desire to fit in and belong to the tribe. We tend to imitate the habits of three social groups: the close, which is family and friends; the many, which is the tribe; the powerful, which is those with status and prestige. One of the most effective things you do to build habits is to join a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. You already have something in common with the group. The normal behavior of the tribe often powers the desired behavior of the individual most days. Would rather be wrong with the crowd than be right by ourselves. If we have a behavior that can get us an approval, respect, and praise, we find it attractive. So, in a nutshell, we can see and tell how environment, family, friends, internal, external factors can, as a matter of fact, influence our habits. Okay? Wow, that was so insightful. Though some will beg to disagree. Some schools of thought before now, Branfim Bonner and the likes, have come up to, you know, argue that just your environment is not enough. Some would say your convictions, some would say who you are. Like some schools of thought had it that have it that we all are born with innate goodness, while some say we need to learn to be good, to do good. Some are also of the view that bad attitudes or habits or character is learned, while some are of the view that some people are just bad. No matter how you see it, it is they eat, breathe, live negativity, anything bad, anything vice, just call them. They live for it. While, like I said before, a lot of people might disagree, I think for me, what I do is to marry all the schools of thoughts there is regarding how the factors that influence our habits and behaviors, be it environment, be it family, be it who we are, be it our thought system, be it our perception, our perspective, and all whatnot. I try to marry all of them and find the common ground. Yeah. And then mixed with my faith and religion, of course, I believe strongly that we can be able to, we have that willpower. We are our own decision makers. Like even though God created and crafted us and kept us here on earth, to some extent, He still gave us dominion. He gave us that self will. You know, that will to decide to do good or do bad. As long as we still have that will, we can decide to turn a new leaf for the better or for the worse. Is in our hands, because as long as we have that will, we can decide to say, okay, you see, this habit is not serving me anymore. Say smoking, for instance. I think it's something one can stop when you decide. Like, you have to decide it. Let me say, for example, someone that claims maybe they can't do without a particular habits and all whatnot, and then they go through, for example, a near death experience, or go through serious health, upheaval or challenge, or serious mental health issue, and then say, for example, they see that the more they continue to toe this line, it's gonna rip them off of the zest to live and enjoy life. And you would see that encounter alone would be so mind boggling and eye opening that they will decide. Take, for instance, I have a friend who said that they, even though they used to smoke up to 6 sticks a day, that the day they decided they were gonna stop, they were just gonna stop. So I asked, what influenced you? She said, because then I was just smoking it as a social thing, and I had that erroneous impression, for whatever reason, that smoking burns fat. So she's like, whenever I want to lose weight, all I just need to do is to take coffee and some sticks or some smoke, and after few months you just notice I slim down and all whatnot. So she was just doing it according to her. I now asked what stopped. She said when she was fatally ill, and the smoke, she wasn't even able to take anymore. You know what I mean? Like, for months she wasn't in a situation to even taking any smoke. So you see that craving, it stopped, because something else has really changed the thought system, and there is a will to live more than a will to engage in any social activity. Because for her, she said smoking was just a social activity. So now her will to live obviously trumped the will to engage in social whatever activity or habits, because her friends were doing it at a time, or she wanted to use it to shed weight. Now she can see the impact of trying to use those as some sort of weight loss strategy, or regimen or whatever. So for me, I feel, if you have, where there's a will, there's a way. You know what I mean? It all depends. That same thing you think you can do without, it can only take an encounter for you to know or decide on what matters. Are you gonna continue living a healthy lifestyle by quitting to smoke, or are you gonna keep smoking? No judgment to, I'm not here to judge anybody and all whatnot, but for me, like I say, I marry all the school of thought, and then add the fact that we all have a will. You see, we have the power of decision, and we have a will. Once you can decide, your will is going to fuel it, and then your faith as well, your religious background, what you believe, right? If you believe you can, you can. But if you believe it's not possible, like there's no way around this thing, So, yeah, that is it. Thank you for sticking by, and I was able to read a chapter today, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'm almost done. The book, once again, is Atomic Habits. I try to read at least a chapter or at least 3 pages each night before I go to bed when I find the time, not like every day. So, and I wanted to bring you along. Let's talk about how, family, friends can affect your habits. And you've seen it today. So, hopefully, in our next live session, we're gonna read together and talk about and talk about let's see, talk about how to find and fix the causes of bad habits. Stay tuned because that's where it gets so interesting. I don't know when it's gonna be, but I'll try to leave it up in a post, and so you can anticipate and join in the live. Do feel free to also join the quintessential community. We have members only perks that you could unlock when you join, as I've listed in my bio. So I hope you also make do of that. And hey, feel free to support us with stars and you know if you feel this variety channel has been a blessing to you in one way or another. Feel free to support us. That's kind of like gives us the encouragement we need as well. Yeah. And hey, when you see those adverts coming up, don't be in a hurry. Don't skip it. That's how your girl gets rewarded, okay? But above all, I wish us a very happy second half. It's the last day of the month of June. I hope that July would answer and bring about glad tidings, and all we are anticipating, all we are hoping for, working so hard, be it that bad habit you're trying to break, be it that generational cycle you're trying to break, be it that mental health issue you're trying to overcome, you're going for therapy, backing it up with your faith in God, believing that God, who owns the human heart on its own, can change it and give you the willpower and grace to forge ahead and turn a new leaf. Be it working on your severed relationship, be it recovering from a loss, grief, broken relationship, whatever it is. I pray, be it chasing that contract, a financial goal and target, be it starting your own thing from the scratch, be it starting a new family, be it being a new parent, which can be very challenging, be it trying to go back to school, brush up your skills, upscale, hone your talents, whatever it is at all. I hope that the second half will really make sense, and everything you've been working hard, putting your mind, thoughts, power, blood, sweat in will come to fruition and manifest for you. Okay? Have a good night, and yay! Happy new month. Bye.